Hello there. My name is Donovan Morris. I'm doing my presentation on cracking down on drug doping in sports. So, some background on the topic. Illegal drugs and supplements have been used for many years, and they can help give an athlete a competitive advantage. Many organizations have been formed to regulate this, but while advances have been made in detecting those who use performance enhancing drugs, some athletes are still finding ways to avoid getting detected while testing. So, some history on the topic. According to the Anti Doping Research Center, the International Olympic Committee formed a medical commission in 1968 to specifically handle doping, and this is where the first ever doping control urine tests were handed out. And in 1982, the UCLA Olympic Analytical Laboratory was created, and it became the first anti-doping lab in the United States. Also, uh, in the 1990s, Dr. Don Catlin created the carbon isotope ratio test, and this deciphers if anabolic steroids were made from the body or from a naturally banned substance. And in 1999, the World Anti-Doping Agency and the United States Anti-Doping Agency opened up to regulate uh, the use of illegal substances. So, the future of doping tests, according to drugabuse.com, is in fingerprints and paper spray mass spectrometry. And this analyzes the molecules in the fingerprint, and the human body excretes molecules that are supposedly detected in fingerprints. And some of the advantages of this are results can come in a matter of minutes, is 99% accurate, and there's no possible way of cheating the test because you are taking it right in front of everybody else. And with the urine test, you can go to the bathroom and possibly use somebody else's urine. So, the role of chemists and biochemists, according to asbnb.org, synthetic drugs are disguised and can look like natural processes in the body. One example of this is erythropoietin, or EPO, and this was designed for anemia patients with chronic kidney disease. And this became popular because of the drug's potential to increase an athlete's blood oxygen carrying capacity. And when an athlete is lacking blood oxygen, then they may get shortness of breath. So there are ways of hiding this drug currently, but endogenous and exogenous versions of EPO. And as you can see on the chart, uh, endo is inside, exo outside. Pretty self-explanatory. So some more steroids. So HGH, or human growth hormone. So some of the uses are for Turner syndrome, which is a genetic disorder that affects a girl's development. Prader-Willi syndrome, and this is a genetic disorder that causes poor muscle tone, low levels of sex hormones, and the anabolic steroids, according to WebMD.com, help build muscle, and it is speculated that they can reverse age-related body deterioration. So normally an athlete, their body begins to break down as they get older, but HGH helps them achieve more longevity. So another drug used is testosterone, and according to medicalnewstoday.com, This regulates sex drive, bone mass, fat distribution, muscle size and strength, and red blood cell production. And one of the testosterone types is prohormones, and these support weight loss and muscle building. So, especially if an athlete is working out a lot and lifting a lot of weights, it'll just enhance those. It'll accelerate the process. So, if you do a workout on testosterone, you will lose more weight and you'll become more lean just by lifting. So, the law with performance enhancing drugs, um, according to Marquette law, there's a world standard for prohibited drugs, and many discussions have happened on the illegality of doping in sports. Uh, and an anti-doping violation in a sport is not a criminal punishment, and the sports governing body may set disciplinary sanctions in place. So some of these punishments, for example, are forfeiting medals, a possible multi-year suspension, um, a lifetime ban, and even potential fines. And one example of a scandal is the Russia doping scandal. And according to the New York Times, there were 77 Russian athletes, 77 Russians, which comprised of 72 athletes and 5 coaches, and they were banned from international competition for 4 years. So the athletes from Russia that are not involved in the scandal can compete in the Olympics under a neutral flag. So anybody from Russia cannot represent Russia for this 4-year stretch moving forward. So the societal impact of anti-doping. Uh, I believe it's a positive due to the dangers of taking banned substances. Um, many people have been harmed from taking banned substances. The intention brought to doping can be positive or negative because, on one hand, people might think that it gives them such an advantage that it's too hard to pass up the opportunity, and others may say, you know what, I have to keep the integrity of the sport and take into account the dangers of taking these drugs. And the most important part is holding people accountable for their actions if they give themselves this unfair advantage, because if they don't, then more people will just end up using it, and it does not set a good example for future generations of athletes. So in conclusion, the science behind anti-doping has developed significantly over the past few decades, and the more advances in anti-doping means the more advances that will be made to avoid a positive test. And future tests must find a way to keep weeding out ways to hide the banned drugs, and it must be able to decide And if you want to know more about the topic, here's some of my references. And thank you.